There have been so many beautiful outpourings of emotion in tribute to Captain L. But for the purposes of this particular tribute, it'll be the words of John Costa and John Freeman that we use as our foundation. Al Mufti, his sire, a son of Roberto, a champion sire, and a huge influence on the breed in South Africa. It was a date with destiny, and Manny dos Santos' daughter of complete warrior off to war was the chosen matriarch. Captain L, from the get-go, was a spectacular racehorse. Vaughan Marshall, who had trained the entire family, was entrusted with the care of Captain L. In the words of John Costa, "If you are extremely lucky, this kind of stallion comes around once in a lifetime." We revere Captain L and the role he played in shaping our lives in every kind of positive way possible. It was John Freeman who was entrusted with the task of syndicating Captain L.
My thanks to Anthony and Gary dos Santos and John Costa for asking me to manage the syndicate. Captain L is a very valuable addition to the portfolio of stallions that my office manage, and we're really pleased to add him to the list. I'm happy to report to you, as with the syndication of London News, and without any promotion at all, this syndicate is all but complete. I went with Gary Player to see the horse at Milnerton last Monday. He was so impressed, he confirmed immediately. He has loads of quality about the head, very good rib, and he's a very solid horse with wonderful quarter and good limbs. I've absolutely no doubt that he has the physical proportions to make a precocious stallion. Anthony and Gary have committed the resources necessary to ensure that this horse gains the exposure that we need to make him work commercially.
My first association with the dos Santos brothers, Gary and Anthony, was they phoned me and asked me to train a horse, Mustang Manny, for them during the Natal season, which they sent up to me, and I won the Port Natal handicap for them in Durban. And when I came back to Cape Town for the season, they asked if I'd train Cams and Win for them, which was a half-brother to Mustang Manny by Damascus Gate. Which I did. I took him into the yard, and he has proved very successful, been an 8-time winner. And so after that, when Captain L was going to be sold and the association with the dos Santos family was off to war, Gary suggested that we go and look at Captain L at the sales. We looked at him, and I liked the individual, and he came into the yard at the end of August of his 2-year-old career. He just turned 2. From the breaking in stage to the first morning at the track and so on, we knew we had a good horse on our hands.
Monastic towards the inside, one of the first to react. Captain L is also pretty speedy in the centre. Uhuru towards the inside, and they're being followed by Peking Party towards the outside, is also pretty speedy. Inside the final 400 now, Captain L is in front. Towards the inside, King's Best. Peking Party's now being satellite in the centre. Towards the inside, Monastic, but Captain L has swept into the lead and gone clear. And Captain L is now pulling clear to win this one impressively. Captain L wins it by 5 lengths in the end.
He was jumping shadows jumping down the course on the way back, and you know, there were moments of concern early on, but he just knew what to do, and he cracked on.
Captain L easing up at the line to win it easy from Queen's Guard in second.
And Captain L and Jeffrey Lloyd, they drawing away to win it, effort, and Captain L won by about 3. Tropical Land second.
When you consider that he was a November foal, so he was, you know, he was still very young, and he was taking on older horses. He just turned 3, and he carried top weight, if I recall. And so I was criticised by certain people that I was overfacing him, but I feel that to win the Guineas in January, the horse has got to do something remarkable early on in his career as a 3-year-old to warrant you having that idea in your head.
But Captain L stretching out over the last 100 and has got it won. And Captain L wins by about 2.5 lengths.
Captain Al, meantime, has set sail for home and got to the front, 2 legs clear. Racing in second, Shadai, and they're being followed by Bel Romano. But Captain Al is pulling clear and ridiculing them. Captain Al showing his class and comes away to win it.
Of his runs up to the Guineas, the Midsummer Stakes was possibly his most impressive one because he really pulverised them, you know, and I think the 1400 suited him at that stage. And he was that much more precocious than the other 3-year-olds around, even though that race was against older horses. His preparation was going well. Yeah.
Captain L coming with a big challenge up towards the outside, and Captain L has swept into lead now as they come to the final 250. Glamour Boy is trying to stay with him along the inside. Caracola and Sugar Daddy's running on late, but Captain L is out in front. Glamour Boy is fighting back courageously. Captain L and Glamour Boy, but Captain L is going to win the Guineas and draws off the winner from Glamour Boy, Sugar Daddy, Caracola.
Ethnocentric, the leader, Captain L, Dad's Elect, Sugar Daddy and Lace Affair. Then it's Super Home, Desert Lake and behind them. Ethnocentric, Captain L, Dad's Elect, Ghostly Galleon finding a finish along the inside. Captain L, wider out, is now the leader from Ethnocentric. Super Home, Lace Affair trying to run on, but it's Captain L and Ethnocentric. A titanic battle as Captain L, the Cape Guineas winner, trying the blinkers and he wins the Merchant.
It's Captain L as they come to the final 200 now. Picks it up from Ethnocentric, who's making him work hard for victory along the inside. Captain L, Ethnocentric trying all he can, but Captain L is just too classy and draws away to win from Ethnocentric.
One must also realise the impact of the mare off Tour, you know. The DeSantis family, the progeny that they've owned out of that mare, I think have won in the region of 42 races, which I'm sure must be a world record for one family to own progeny out of one mare and with such a record. So she's thrown them, and they're multiple winners, you know, 10, 11-time winners in the field, and he's now a nine-time winner. He's achieved everything, and we send a good young horse to stud so that he can get progeny on the ground. And I just feel that we should be working the same way as they do in England. When a horse wins the Guineas, he's sent to stud. And, all right, I don't say we must send one that wins the Cape Guineas because that's still very early in his 3-year-old career. But I think we should all be working along those lines, and hopefully we will be vindicated with this decision.
Captain Al, to me, was the best 3-year-old in the country. I rode him during his 2- and 3-year-old career, where he was probably unbeatable over the 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs, where he won the features in Cape Town. He then went for his main test, which was the Argus Guineas. A lot of people had doubt about his stamina, but he won it very comfortably from drawn 16. And I think after that race, everyone believed he was the best 3-year-old around. He, to me, was a better sprinter than a miler, but his class and his speed got him through.
He's a lovely horse. He's very well put together. He's strong, he's sound, he's got speed, and you know, he can get a mile. So I think he's an excellent breeding prospect.
Hill 54 was safely loaded away. Racing in the JMB Met from the 2,000-metre mark. In front, it's Hill 54 that takes the JMB Met field onto the 1,000-metre mark. He leads the way by a length and a half, and no worries. He's racing in second, a half a length back on the inside, Royal Zulu Warrior. Ice Machine, Awesome Power. Behind that, we've got Do You Remember? Then comes Jackson. He's cornering at the back as they straighten up. Hill 54, he's hanging towards the stand side rail. No worries on the inside. Then comes Royal Zulu Warrior, Punta Arenas. Yorker gets going towards the inside. Cape Town was up the middle. Master of My Fate into the clear flashing. They fanned right across the track. Hill 54, Yorker. Between runners, we've got Master of My Fate getting going. Down the inside, we got Ice Machine. It's Hill 54. He's finding another gear. And Hill 54 is powering home to conquer the Met. Hill 54 from Yorker. But it's Anton Marcus for Von Marshall on Hill 54 that wins the J&B Met.
He's been a wonderful horse, and it was just reward for him, you know, having all that time to prepare him, and after the bad trip in Durban, he's really bounced back to his best.
What stage of the race did you actually think to yourself, well, this one looks like it's in the bag, knowing how fit and strong he was?
I'd like to say when the gates open, but yeah, on the line. Yeah, you keep shouting and hoping, and it came off.
Victory is beautiful for yourself and for your team, but it's the look of joy on the face of the recipient. In this particular case, one of the most prolific owners that this country's ever seen. He's achieved incredible things business-wise, but this must have been the cherry on the top for him.
Well, absolutely, and you know, I think he's got two real big passions, and they're all our passions: to win the July and to win the Met. And we've now done the Met, so I hope I do it in the July, you know, because he's a wonderful, wonderful man to train for, and the sport desperately needs men like him.
Of course, the relationship goes back to the days where you syndicated Captain Al and your long-standing relationship with John Costa.
Yeah, well, that goes back to mid-80s, so we've been around together for a long, long time. My first Group 1 winner was a horse bred by Costa brothers in those days, a horse called Sea Warrior, and that's where my relationship started with John.
Mike de Kock once said to me when I was speaking to him about horse chestnuts, and bearing in mind that he is, relatively speaking, a junior to you in terms of years and training, he said these great horses find you. Was that the case with Hill 54?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I certainly didn't pick him, and I can't take any accolades for that. But you know, he came to me in a package deal, and we all thought he'd be a nice horse, and so it proved once we got the show on the road. You know, and he's just continued to show improvement. And I agree wholeheartedly with Mike. You know, those horses do come along once in a lifetime, and he found me.
You know, we bought his mother at a sale, but we bought her specifically for Captain Al, and the second foal was Hill 54. And the poor old girl died giving birth to Hill 54, and I have to say such a huge thank you to my staff at home, Peter and Juanita, who bottle-fed this little guy for 2 days before we found a batty mare for him and put him onto a batty mare, and she raised him. And it's just a great story because, you know, Marcus has run second in this race, I think, 4 times.
Yeah.
And this is a horse that we put aside for Marcus from the farm, because he buys horses off the farm. And it's just a dream come true to be able to do that for Marcus, and at the same time for Vaughan Marshall, who trained his dad to win the Guineas here, and ultimately has trained his greatest son. So it's just a fabulous day of stories and tales for all the family.
Well, there's no syndicate that I've ever seen commit themselves as you guys did to Captain Al. The celebration of the day that he actually retired, it was a race that he didn't win. Nobody cared about that because he had been a horse that had won the Guineas from draw 16. Heart, what an incredible stallion, right across the spectrum.
Well, Henry, you know, you were at the party. We syndicated him in 24 hours. First time in my life I've seen ladies playing Hakus Krakus with dresses on nogal. And it's just been a huge fun syndicate. You know, Captain Al, for us personally, put our children through school. But there's nobody in this country that hasn't been involved with a Captain Al, whether it's a trainer, a jockey, or an owner, or a breeder, that hasn't had good fortune. So, just an unbelievable stallion, and we're just blessed that he's crossed our paths. Vaughan was the first trainer that I actually shook hands with when I was a lightie and came onto the breeding scene, and Vaughan will tell you what happened that night. We went huge. So it's fantastic to be able to share this kind of a victory with Vaughan, a very dear and a very close friend. Anton, you know, Anton's not called Superman for nothing. He is absolutely sublime, and I don't like to say I have favorites, but if I had to choose somebody to ride for my life, for sure it would be Anton. And Marcus, you know, I haven't got enough superlatives for Marcus. What he's done for this industry, the support that he's given, not just to KLAWERVLEI, but to every breeder in this industry, and trainers. You know, I think he's got 16 different trainers that train for him. So it's, you know, we're blessed to have these kind of people in this game, and all we can say is hallelujah and enjoy the moment. So please God, we find a son of his to go to stud.
As everyone knows, the breeding of thoroughbred racehorses is anything but an exact science. But if this fella, William Longsword, doesn't make it as a stallion, it would be a travesty of justice. He has the looks, he has the pedigree, he has the racing performance, and he looks to have that X factor. The X factor that was prevalent in Off to War, who produced both Shadow Dancing, a Grade 1 filly, a daughter of Fort Wood, and then Captain Al defeating Glamored Boy in his finest hour, the Argus Guineas being drawn widest of all. In all the tributes we've seen of Northern Dancer, or Seattle Slew, or Secretariat, or any great racehorse for that matter, In the South African context, we think of Jetmaster. All of these tributes are deeply emotional. But nobody will argue the fact that Captain Al etched his way into our hearts like no horse has ever done in South Africa. His roll of honor is long and illustrious, and it's no secret that this filly smashed the colts in the Natal Mercury Sprint. Her name, all is secret. And then there's Carry On Alice. She was victorious in 5 Grade 1 races, the darling of the turf, destined to go to stud in the foreseeable future. KLAWERVLEI as a nursery was home to Captain Al, and his legacy will never be forgotten, no matter who comes to KLAWERVLEI, no matter who the next successor to Captain Al will be. There will always only be one Captain Al. Statistics say so much, but so little, as was reported in the Sporting Post. John Costa said, "We didn't have a gate at the top of our driveway. What we did have was 2 wolves called Debt and Overdraft. And Captain Al kept on guarding my family from those 2 wolves. That was our captain."
It's Captain America in front. He's 2 lengths clear and he's going on strongly. Here's Captain America. This is the Captain America that we know, and he blows them away. Captain of All, though, goes on, and it's Captain of All from Gulfstorm the last 100, but Captain of All has won it. But Carry On Alice is going on, and it's Carry On Alice running strongly. He's going to win it. The second place will go to maybe Alborency or Fly By Night.
William Longsword draws up and draws to the lead. Gold Standard is in hot pursuit up the outside. It's William Longsword with his head in front. He's taken the lead in the Guineas. Gold Standard is bearing him down with each and every stride. The post looming, William Longsword from Gold Standard. Table Bay, and then came Elevated.
An incredible element of irony prevails here when we reflect on the interview of Vaughan Marshall's when Captain Al was retired to stud. The very selfsame man ironically produces his heir apparent, William Longsword, the smashing-looking son of Captain Al, out of a Fort Wood mare called Pagan Princess. This is clearly the stuff of which dreams are made. You look at the individual, you think to yourself, how on earth can this not be a stallion? Even as a relatively young 3-year-old, he always looked the part.
It's Carry On Alice that's taken the lead in the Betting World Cape Flying Championship. Red Ray comes again on the inside, up the outside, trip to heaven, to the wire. Carry On Alice won it.
The true test of a filly is the ability to smash the colts. And this Carry On Alice has done right from the very early part of her racing career. She has become the darling of the turf, trained by South African record-breaking trainer Sean Tarry and ridden by Samanga Kamalo. She's all class, she's all speed, and she is a true testament to the brilliance of Captain Al as a sire.
Captain of All's now going to throw out the challenge down the inside. African Dream, Legislate, and Captain of All coming to the 200-meter marker. Captain of All, though, hit the front over the last 100. Carry On Alice is running on from behind, but Captain of All's going on to win it.
Well, the most important thing from a sport analogy perspective is that every cricket team likes to have an anchor, whether it's a Barry Richards or a Jacques Collis. You've got Captain Al.
No, he's been the most amazing stallion that we could ever have envisaged of having. He's just so consistent. We call him Mr. Fix It at Home because you can send him any type of a mare and he'll give you a yearling that you can sell well and that they race well and they're very sound horses. So we're absolutely blessed. Our anchor is for sure Captain Al.